Stathopoulos and Josh Phegan come together in an incredible podcast, Grow, Scale, Master.
An energetic approach to drive progress, master skills, build strengths and put the strategy back into rapid business and personal success.
Backed by real-world experience in rapid scaling to playing the long-term game of business, it's the story of all the lessons learned on the journey to mastery.
Be inspired, renew your energy and chase the future with Grow, Scale, Master.
Con, it's a really foundational question about whether or not adversity is actually the greatest teacher. And when I think about adversity, like it comes in all grades and all shapes and sizes, but it's kind of like, people kind of want this life where it is adverseless. And you kind of go, well, hang on a second, adversity is the greatest teacher. And like at a very low level, I actually see real estate agents that protect their developing agents, co-agents, from loss.
Yep.
Oh, you're going to lose that listing, I better come with you. Oh, no, don't say that to the seller, let me do that. Oh, no, I do the negotiations. And when you do that, you really prevent their growth. And one of my favourite ones is when someone actually rings you up and goes, hey, Con, I know we're going to that listing. Mate, just being caught into something else, you'll have to go on your own. And at that moment, that's actually where you learn. I have been involved in some really full-on pieces of adversity that people have gone through, and very lovingly as a coach, they've confided in me some of those situations, and I've had to kind of coach people through what I go to say, show them some sunshine in a very dark room.
Yep.
To kind of get them through that. Talk to us a little bit about adversity and how it is a teacher and how people can bounce back, I guess, with passion and energy and actually go on to live a much better life, even though there are times that you've actually found yourself maybe not in the best place and you want to see something different.
Yeah, it's a great topic. I think there's a vulnerability around adversity. And for those who have gone through adversity, I have personally, professionally, and I've had people, family, friends and whatnot. The rebound is so much bigger and better because it humbles people. It teaches you the lessons that often you don't want to know at that time, but then on reflection, it's the stuff that actually helps you and fuels you, and almost it's a guiding kind of northern lights, right? It's kind of like telling you where you need to be and what you need to be doing, even though you don't want to be doing it. So for me, the adversity that I've had, I've lost both my parents, unfortunately.
So sorry to hear.
Thanks, mate. And, that's probably the hardest thing that I've had to deal with in my life, not having a mum, not having a dad. But I guess what the flip side of that is the lessons that they taught me are so much more prevalent and
timeless.
That's exactly right.
And powerful.
Correct. And also, you don't realise it in the moment sometimes.
And do you think that maybe they didn't either?
No, correct. That's right. They're just trying to be good parents, right? Trying to transfer knowledge and, protect. And I think that's the biggest thing is that adversity is no protection. You must go through the storm. You must get through to the other side. And when you get through to the other side, hopefully you're going to be better for it. It's a level of growth, right? And I think every level of growth requires a new version of yourself. And if you haven't gone through a little bit of adversity, personally, professionally, and hopefully, the people that are listening have had blessed lives and they haven't had too much. But I really do believe that is the biggest lesson and the biggest lever for growth for what's next, right? Because some people will grab it and they'll work on it. And you've seen this, Josh. You've seen agents. We've seen it, the changed agents, where, had a really rough childhood, lived in housing commission, you know who I'm talking about, and, just made sure that they weren't ever going to be in a position like that. They're the people that went through adversity. They've just got that in the back of their mind. I remember where I came from. I remember that experience. I'd never want to relive that.
Do you think that people in society have become too soft?
Oh, I don't know, mate. I think we've
my grandparents came out to Australia on a boat. They were,
Same.
They were in a position. They lived in the same house for their entire life. They didn't go too crazy about anything. Mind you, my grandfather built a lot of blocks of flats. I'll tell you the story on that. It's funny. My dad was telling me that they were in a position that he'd sold a block of flats on behalf of my grandfather, and as he was getting a bit older, or older. And it was interesting because the guy who bought it was going to take out the base of the showers.
No chance he was, mate.
So he's
concrete.
There. So he's there and he's like drilling like there's no tomorrow to try to take these things out after he'd bought the block of flats. And Dad goes down 6 weeks later. He goes, man, where are you at? He goes, I'm trying to renovate. He goes, but mate, whoever built these, I got to tell you. He goes, mate, they got reinforced Rio that like literally is an arm wide. How did they get this? My grandfather actually helped to go and build the snowy hydro.
I was going to say, yeah.
And just took the offcuts of the Rio. And that's concrete. Mate, the adversity like that they went through, Man, we haven't gone through it.
No,
like if you're going to look at Spartan and Joe Dispenza, like he talks about that whole conversation about saying, hang on a second, like we got to get tougher. He goes, you reckon you got a tough life? Carry a kettlebell around with you. Like it's an extreme.
I think, mate, to answer your question, have we become soft? I think we've become comfortable and I think we've become complacent.
Sure.
Right, so let's go back a couple of million years ago, whatever it might be. We had to wake up, hunt, not be hunted, come back, cook, reproduce and start. Now, everything that we want is at our fingertips. Mate, if we want a pizza right now, I just open up my phone. Within 20 minutes, it will be here.
Yeah.
So I think what's happened is that we're at a different part or time in the world, and because things are so convenient and so easy, it has maybe numbed us a little bit. Think about the best agents.
Well, no, we get impatient because the Uber doesn't turn up.
Well, I do.
We used to ring a taxi and you're like, if it comes in the next hour.
No, they'd be like, it'll be there in 28 minutes. And, you had to dial.
Yeah.
Now, if the Uber's more than 6 minutes, cancel, start again, show me another one. But you look at the best agents, the propensity for them to perform is under adversity. Their back's against the wall. They're going through, life events, birth, deaths, marriages, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But also, they just keep going, mate.
So when you think about that, the decisions that you make, and the people that you hang around. How important are those when you get to, I guess, T intersections?
Yeah.
Like pivotal, this is a moment and you've got to make a decision.
I've been there. You were there.
Yes.
I've been there when we bought Parramatta, man. You got to have a board of directors. You got to have the mental board of people that are going to protect you, keep you safe, direct you, guide you, humble you, keep your ego in check, and more importantly, they're the ones that, they're the people, I call them the cut man or woman. So, think about a boxing. I hate using violence as an analogy, but think about this. When the bell dings, the boxer goes out. When the bell dings, they come back. There's the cut man and the ice guy and there's the coach and all that type of stuff. So you need those people in your corner to be able to direct and guide you, particularly when you're going through the storm.
What's the power of being a mentor and having a mentor when any of these types of environments happen, but also having those people outside of those moments for preparation in case they do?
I think they're lessons, Josh. Like, I think, you don't know the path that people have travelled. So when you have a mentor, it's great that you can go to them, and we've all got them where you can actually ask for some advice, right? But I think when you're mentoring someone, you're actually learning from them as well at the same time as passing on information, whether you've experienced it or not. So I think that the beauty about being a mentor or being mentored is your ability to curate experiences. And, kind of when you get to that T intersection, you kind of work out and go, well, hang on a second, who's going to keep me safe? Who's going to keep me aligned? Who's going to give me the right advice? And more importantly, how am I going to be directed through this to get to the other side?
If you think about like creativity when a challenge appears,
yes,
and it's kind of funny because I've these questions that we've been asking, and one of the questions is like, when you're in a challenging moment, how do you want to be today? And the thing that keeps on coming up for me is I actually want to be creative. Because I want to find my way out of the box.
Yeah, okay.
I want to try to solve the problem.
Yeah.
And I actually love solving problems.
Yeah.
I know that sounds funny, but that's my favourite part of the business.
Yeah.
So when you think about that, creativity, could people use more of it in business to assist them and go, well, how could I fix this or change this?
100%. I mean, just because we did it that way doesn't mean we do it all, that way all the time. So I think, creativity in business, I mean, Super Saturday came from an idea, and that was born out of, probably future adversity. So I think creativity is, and I think that's what we've kind of lost, that innocence, that time and space to be able to actually think, right, as opposed to do. I know what your day's like. I know what my day's like. The phone's going mental, text messages, calls, WhatsApp, emails, meetings, etc. When are you actually taking time to reflect? So for me, Fridays are usually the day that I work on the business, I work on myself, and I'm thinking about, how can we make things easier? What's the next level of customer experience look like without trying to be cute or cliche, right? So yeah, I think so. Creativity is an incredible part.
And what about just like learning how to become a great problem solver?
Do you reckon you can learn that?
Absolutely.
So tell me
models.
Okay.
So push a model through it. So okay, great. So now take it from a different perspective. So here's the problem. The customer said this. Okay, great. So how could we solve that?
Yeah.
If you were the customer, how would you be feeling?
Yeah, correct.
Or was it in this moment or before the moment that issue happened?
Yeah, good.
So as an example, we keep on getting people getting really upset because of the way that they feel their offer was handled.
Yep.
Okay, great. So could we develop a one-pager that says this is what happens now you've made an offer?
Yeah.
You'd have that in your business, wouldn't you?
100%, yeah.
Right, like 2,000 transactions a year.
Yeah.
Surely you've got that.
Yeah.
When I go to most real estate practices, they don't have a one pager. You're in a multi-offer situation. What happens now?
Yeah, correct.
You're going to bid on auction. This is what actually happens. Like, why do we not have these one pages?
Because we're not being creative. We're not thinking about the problem. We're just dealing with what's
With the symptom.
100%.
Instead, we're going to go and put someone on full time to deal with complaints when a business gets big.
Yeah.
And this is the whole conversation. Con, when you think about your go-to when things don't go the way you want them to, is that a mentor? Is that someone that you actually might have in life for different situations, whether or not it's a business one, a personal item, any of the above?
Mate, you're one of them. You know that. I'll call you and go, Joshy, mate, I'm stuck here, or I'm trying to work through this, or hey, mate, I haven't experienced this for a long time, so, I'm maybe conflicted emotionally. So I'm a big believer that, the head is the logic part, the heart is the emotion part, and the gut is the instinct part. And sometimes they're in alignment and sometimes they're completely out of alignment. So you definitely need a coach or a mentor, a friend, a parent. I used to get that from my mum, where I just go, hey, mum, work me through this. And there was no judgment, right? And I 100% you need that.
And interesting enough, your wife, Emily, is exactly like that.
Absolutely. She's calm. She's completely different. I mean, I'm a little bit, ADD, OCD, all that sort of stuff, but she's very calm. She takes it from a completely different perspective. Someone can ask us the same question and we've got two different responses, and that's the beauty about that balance, right?
So how do you go to develop like a really powerful mindset and this capability around resilience to like have a look at what you do?
Mate, I'm a work in progress, dude. Like, to be honest, I'm still trying to work through that, but I'm doing all the things that are trying to feed my soul and feed my brain and feed everything about me. So let's talk about that. So, we've both got saunas. That's actually a big part for me, because I can sit there in silence with no phone and think.
Yeah.
And I can think about my emotion. I can think about, maybe it's journaling, maybe it's meditating, maybe it's breath work, maybe it's an ice bath, maybe it's reading, maybe it's, a psychologist, whatever it might be. So if you don't put the work in, you can't expect to get the result out. So it's very, very simple for me. If I keep behaving, this is what I say to, you're there. If we keep listing and selling exactly the same way we were 3 or 6 months ago, we're already out of date.
Yeah, decay.
Yeah, correct. The phone, your iPhone doesn't auto-update every couple of weeks. Why does it do that? Because, there's software bugs and, you got to change the algorithm and all that type of stuff. It's no different in life. So if we're not constantly working on ourselves and trying to become a better version of what we've got, then I think what happens is we have that decay. And it's prevalent in relationships, in performance, and in everything.
The best thing that I found is to find a model to help your thinking expand.
Yeah.
So, COVID was one of the biggest teachers for me about models, because the government came out with a list of all the things that you can't do.
Yeah.
And I was in a conversation with Paul Curtin from Place Estate Agents, and he goes, man, I'm just sick of it. Why don't we just talk about things we can do? And I got off that call and I drew up a T-chart, which I hadn't really ever thought about doing that before, apart from when we had to do trust accounting in our licensing. And I wrote on one side, can do, can't do.
Yeah.
And can't do physical auctions, can do on Zoom. And that just became a thing. And then I just started thinking about that. And so we had then learnt another model, and I'd read this somewhere, I think it was a McKinsey & Co thing, and it said, hey, whenever you hit adversity, run this. And I'm like, what was it? And it said, okay, great. So denial, crisis, opportunity, planning.
Okay, is it in the, are they the 4 different stages?
In that level.
Right.
So I just, okay, great, that's a model, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, great. So this has just happened to me. I'm in denial that that's happened.
Yeah, it's going to be fine.
And now I'm in crisis that that's actually happened.
Yep.
What's the opportunity now from this crisis?
Yep.
And then how do I plan for that?
Yep.
And so even when I hit really big issues on behalf of a client or personally, I run through that.
Yeah, it's a great way to look at that.
And so then that way it just gets my thinking to help me to get more sunshine.
Yeah, I like that.
Experiences that rapidly shaped you.
So this is awesome. Kind of, this is the whole conversation around the power of saving and the exit to Canberra. And you're like, what is that? So like we're awesome. And my mum and dad were amazing. A family holiday for us was going to Manly here in Sydney. And it was really, really good. It was amazing. We got to go to the beach. We lived in the country. We didn't really get to go to the beach that much, where there was sunshine and there was waves and stuff. We were in the river. So from that, and that was freezing, by the way, coming from the snowy mountains. And so we're in this position, and one day we're driving along, and my mum and dad were the best at that, because as a little kid, you're like, oh, mum and dad, could we buy this? And they're like, oh, no, no, we need to save. We don't have much money. Oh, Mum and Dad, can we buy this? Oh, no, when it's your own money, you can buy whatever you want. Oh, Mum and Dad, can we buy this? Oh, no, not yet. We're not quite ready for that. And one day we were driving along and we were in the family car of the day. It was me, Mum and Dad. My sisters were off doing something else. And we were driving from Sydney after we'd been to Manly. And I said to Dad, oh, what are we going to do today? He goes, oh, not much. We're just going to turn off here at Canberra. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, well, your mother needs a new car. I'm like, what do you mean Mum needs a new car? Your mum needs a new car. So we pulled into this car dealership and Dad bought a new car.
Wow.
And I was just like, but I thought we didn't have any money. And he goes, well, that was in the first bank account. He goes, we've got a couple of other bank accounts, so we're just going to go to that one. And he went to the other bank account, transferred the money, and we bought a brand new car. And it taught me that that's actually the power of life. Psychologically talking to yourself, hey, we don't have any money for that. But having a second and a third bank account for the new car or the holiday overseas or, for paying down the investment property, you can actually save some other things. And it was a fantastic little lesson.
You can. I had an experience recently where I went to Bill's in Bondi.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a Sunday and we had Franklin, our beautiful little puppy, with us. And you got to get a table outside and there's a queue and there's people and of course there's, the table that we need is, 2 older ladies with 2 glasses of water. They've had their breakfast or their coffee and they're sitting there having a chin wag. And what I noticed was the lady that was running the floor, the way that she handled being able to exit them with class and with ease as opposed to kind of, make them feel uncomfortable or turn that into a shitty experience was absolutely incredible.
Something that's changing your view.
Not enough planning, see the bigger picture. When I go into people's lives, I say, hey, show me the next 12 to 18 months out. Where are the holidays? What? Where are the holidays? If you've got a family, the school holidays are your period, plan it, get into the business.
Yep.
What are you expecting? Shortly we've got an election.
Yeah.
That was always going to happen.
Yeah.
So literally just plan a year and get really full on about it. And Carly, my team, is already planning our 2027 dates.
Yeah, wow.
And I'm like, is there 26 coming up first?
Oh, we've already done that.
And she's like, no, we've already done that. She said, we've already sold our events, the first series of events for 2026 now. And so we're already looking at 2027 and I have to decide what holidays I want and if it's a milestone birthday. And I'm like, it's not a milestone birthday. But it's just learning that, get really good at the planning.